Hey, there you are. Come on in, get comfortable, get that old seatbelt on, and let's see where these life lanes lead us today. Well, this is going to be the fifth installment in a series that we've entitled, Some of y'all haven't been to church in a long time, and I don't blame you one bit. Our first episode, or I should say installment, was a prologue installment. Second was the introduction. Third was disappointment and discouragement. Fourth was hypocrisy. And in this installment, we're going to talk about money, the things that turn people off to church that have to do with money. And you know, it's really funny. This, as well as other things that we've talked about, is not anything new. Jesus encountered these things in his day. For example, one of the things that's a turnoff to some folks when it comes to church are the showy ones. They've got money, and you know they've got money, and they want you to know that they've got money. Well, in Jesus' day, he encountered people like that. The rich people were really showy when it came to their offerings in the temple, dropping their coins into the receptacles, and apparently whatever the receptacles were that collected the money, they were noisy, from what I understand. And so, you know, the more they dropped their coins into the slot, the more noise it made. And in a way, they were advertising how rich they were by how much they're giving and how generous I am. Look at me, right? And then in comes this little widow, this little old lady. And she puts into the offering the last of what she has. And Jesus says, you know what? This is where the blessing's at. Not the show-offs, but this right here. Another thing that's a big turn-off when it comes to money and going to church is, well, it comes from the pulpit, to be honest. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Now, I've looked at this thing sideways, up, down, backwards, and without getting into a real long dissertation, which really to examine this in great detail or in any detail would require just that, a lot of time. Let's just condense it a little bit. Tithing and offering are biblical principles. However, I believe that a lot of pastors and churches have turned people off from going to church by strong-arming people into giving money. If you don't pay your tithe, then you're cheating God and you're under a curse. Or, we have this need and we need offering above and beyond our tithes. Now, God's going to bless you if you give, right? Like playing the stock market, I'll put in 100 and get back 10,000. That's what the man's telling me. A lot of us have, I'll just say it, fallen for it. A lot of us have written that check knowing that there's a bill due, knowing that there's just enough in the account to cover it, but because of the arm twisting, we'll write that check and give it in the offering just to have the bill not get paid, have those folks calling you, not having the tenfold thing come back like the man promised. So the point here is, yes, tithing and offering are biblical principles. But if you're being strong-armed, chances are those biblical principles are being distorted or taken out of context. Now, as I wrap this up, and I've said this at the end of every installment, look, don't let what happens in church interfere with your relationship with God. And I'm going to talk about that in the next installment more, which will be the conclusion to the series. Your relationship with God is one thing. Your relationship with the church you attend, that's a Harley Davidson. Did you hear that? Yeah. Way over in the fast lane too, and we're over in the slow lane. Anyway, your relationship with God is one thing. Your relationship with your church is another thing. If you have a bad experience in church, it should not sour you on God. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next installment.